Hello Pokemon trainers, welcome back to another Pokemon TCG Pocket video here on iStarly TV. So really exciting news, the new set, the Johto set, is coming in a couple of days, but I do believe Pokemon TCG Pocket, the app, just updated from what I hear. And basically people are starting to kind of data mine the new update, and we have reveals of a lot of the new cards from the set. It's possible by the time you're watching this that the entire set has been leaked, but at least for right now, I'm going to talk about all of the EX Pokemon in the new set. I forgot exactly what the new set is called. It's like the Way of Sky and Sea or something along those lines. Please forgive me and correct me if I'm wrong on that, but let's talk about the EX Pokemon in this video. I don't want this video to be too long, so I will make a separate video for some other really exciting cards in the set that are not EX. There's at least one that's like really exciting for a lot of people, but let's go ahead and take a look, like I said, of the new EX Pokemon. So, of course, spoiler alert, if you do not want to see these new cards from the new set before they come out, keep that in mind. I'm about to show them, I'm about to talk about them, and feel free to like this video, leave a comment below, let me know what you're most excited for, and come back to the video at a later date if you do not want to be spoiled. But anyways, spoiler alert, let us begin now. So, the first EX, I'm just going to try to quickly go through some of these because, you know, some of them are not super exciting, some of them are pretty exciting, and of course we already know about 4 of them officially. The first one is Shuckle EX. This is one of the grass type EXs for the game, and I'll be honest, I was kind of running through my head of like all the Johto Pokemon that we could possibly get as EXs, and I was thinking of the grass Pokemon. I was feeling pretty confident we would get Meganium EX, and I completely forgot about Shuckle. I was like, okay, there's like Meganium, there's Jumpluff, there's Ladian, you know, there's not very many options, and then I completely forgot about Shuckle, and here is Shuckle EX. It's a basic EX, it has 120 HP, it's a grass type of course. It has an ability Solid Shell, which says this Pokemon takes minus 20 damage from attacks, and then it has an ability or a move Triple Slap. You flip 3 coins and it does 20 damage for each heads. Very much like Shuckle in the games, this Pokemon can kind of tank hits really well, but it also does not do very much damage, and honestly, I think this card is bad. It does only have 1 retreat cost, which could be valuable. I don't know where you would play this. I mean, it has 120 HP. You could kind of look at it as having about 140 HP because of that ability. I mean, I know it's not exactly the same, but in some instances it kind of is. I guess it's not exactly the same, but it's better than that. But, you know, you have stuff like Leaf Cape, you have stuff like Erica. You know, there's a lot of ways to kind of keep this going, but I just think the fact that not only does it not do a lot of damage, but it relies on coin flips. I really liked the Serena card from the first Serena card that was printed. I forgot which set that was in. And that one you flip 3 coins and for each head you do 50 damage. And I really liked that card, but it just didn't really work out, unfortunately. And this is just even worse. You're giving your opponent an easy point for this one. I mean, to be fair, yes, it is a lot more difficult to take this one down, but I don't think it's worth it. I mean, maybe you can play this when you're trying to set up other Pokemon, like, I don't know, Celebi EX or Buzzwole EX, but if you're playing Buzzwole, you might as well play all the other Ultra Beasts. So I love Shuckle, and I think this is a really cool card, but unfortunately, I'm just not really seeing it. Next, let's go to Kingdra EX. Kingdra EX is one of the water-type EXs, if not the only water-type EX from the new set. And I'm really excited for this. I'm really hyped for this. I was wondering what water Pokemon we would get for the EXs, and I love Kingdra. It's one of my favorite Pokemon, one of my favorite Gen 2 Pokemon, and I love Gen 2. It's my favorite generation of all time. This one is awesome. I also have really loved Arbok in this game, the first Arbok that was printed. It does 60 damage with the corner move, and it makes it so that your opponent cannot retreat. Guess what? This basically does that. 90 damage for 2 water energy, Stormy Prison. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. It has 170 HP. Of course, it's a stage 2, but of course, we have rare candy in the game. And this is a water Pokemon, so you have things like Irida, I guess Misty to support it. And guess what? This combos really well with Greninja, because you can ping them with Greninja's ability, and then you can Cyrus them in, and then Stormy Prison them. Either knock them out, of course that's 110 damage total, 20 from Greninja and 90 from the attack. Or if you don't knock them out, you lock them in and they can't switch out. So like, for example, if they're setting up a Giratina on the bench and they have like 1 or 2 energy on it, and then you use this combo, you know, you Greninja, shoot the Giratina, and then you Cyrus it into play, and then you Stormy Prison. Guess what? They're basically dead, and they're not going to get an attack off with their Giratina, and you really massively set them back. This meta also has things like Sylveon, stuff like that. You know, of course, EXs really struggle against Oricorio, but if they have a non-Oricorio Pokemon on their bench, you can get that into play, and then either knock them out or lock them in with Stormy Prison. So I think there's a lot of good potential with this card. It's also just good with Sabrina, because like if the opponent has something good in their active spot, you can just Sabrina them, force them to go into something different. You don't need Greninja, and just go for Stormy Prison, which Stormy Prison, 90 damage, that two-shots most everything in the meta. Pretty much two-shots everything in the meta that does not have a cape. Though, of course, you know, there's healing and stuff like that, but I'm really excited for this card. This is one of the cards that I'm most excited for at the moment, and I'm definitely going to build decks around it. I'm definitely going to build Kingdra EX with Greninja, and even non-Greninja variants, but let me know in the comments what you think of these Pokemon so far. Let's get to the next one. Next, we have Donphan EX. This is a stage 1, it's got 160 HP, and it has an interesting ability, or move, Gigantic Press. It does 50 damage for 1 fighting energy, which is okay. And then it says, if this Pokemon has at least 2 extra fighting energy attached, it does 60 more damage. So this is an interesting one where it's like, when you're attacking right away, you know, 50 damage for 1 energy is pretty solid. And then when you have 2 energy on it, you're doing 50 damage, which is bad. But when you have 3 energy on it, you do 110 damage. So the damage scales pretty well on this Pokemon. I guess the downside here is that fighting doesn't really have any ramp. It doesn't have any way of like getting bonus energy onto Pokemon more quickly. So it's kind of slow going with this Pokemon, but if you can evolve it quickly, you know, 50 damage is pretty solid. This one-shots Oricorio, which is one of the kind of better Oh, no, I'm sorry, never mind. That was a really dumb statement. This does not one-shot Oricorio because this is an EX. I don't even know why I said that. I was just thinking of Oricorio, I guess. I was just thinking of that deck and how, you know, that deck is pretty much weak to fighting. So Zeraora, Type Null, those Pokemon are weak to fighting, so that's pretty good. Of course, once again, you do not one-shot Oricorio, but if you're playing a Donphan EX deck, you can play other non-EX Pokemon to deal with Oricorio, and that's not bad. So this is an exciting Pokemon. It's really tanky. It only has, it has 3 retreat though, so that's kind of a downside, but let me know if you were to build a Donphan EX deck, let me know how you would build it, because fighting's kind of a weird type in this game, I think, where they don't really have like a clear identity. Like, you know, fire can do a lot of damage, but they discard energy. Water can like move energy around, stuff like that. You know, grass can sometimes heal and stuff like that. Fighting doesn't feel like it has like a true identity, and like at the moment, fighting decks are not that great. I guess you could play this with like Rampardos, because Rampardos is just always good. So that could be an interesting combination, but I like Donphan a lot. I'm excited to play this card, but I just really don't know where it fits. So let me know in the comments what you think. Next, we have Crobat EX. This is another stage 2, 170 HP. For 1 dark energy, it has Venomous Slash, does 70 damage for 1 energy. That's actually really solid. And then it says your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. This is pretty strong, I think, right? You can pair this with Darkrai EX. You can pair this with Nihilego. There's a lot of things you could play this with, and I mean, I just think this is just a great card in general. And, you know, you can even pair this with, like, the new Umbreon EX, and you can use Umbreon's ability to, like, pull them in and then switch into Crobat and poison them. Or you could do it the reverse way. You could poison one of their Pokemon and do a lot of damage, and then maybe they'll switch it out, and then you can go into Umbreon and pull it back in and maybe knock them out with Umbreon or something like that. So either way, I just think this is a really, really strong Pokemon. 70 damage, effectively 80 damage for a single energy. You know, 80 damage because it's 70 plus the 10 poison. That's really strong just for a single energy. You can play other Pokemon in your deck, such as Darkrai EX. That can just kind of, once you have 1 energy on Crobat, you can just start putting your energy on other Pokemon and let Crobat kind of whittle away at their Pokemon. I think this is a really, really strong card. And yeah, I mean, Crobat lives up to its hype. It's a super fast Pokemon that's able to do a lot of damage. Crobat's awesome, right? Let me know what you think about Crobat EX in the comments. Next is another exciting one. This is Skarmory EX. I was wondering if the metal type we would get would be Skarmory EX, the metal type EX, I mean. 140 HP, it's a basic Pokemon, and for 2 steel energy or metal energy, it has Steel Wing. It does 70 damage, and during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes minus 20 damage from attacks. So there's also I guess I'll get a little ahead of myself here because I wanted to make a separate video for the supporters. There's a Jasmine supporter card, which says, I think your Skarmory EX or Steelix takes minus 50 damage during your next turn. So this with like Jasmine, maybe with Adaman, and then like, I don't know, some capes or some potions or stuff like that. This could be a really strong deck. Like 70 damage is not really that much, but if it's a decent like chunk of consistent damage, and if you can make it so that Skarmory just never dies with this ability, as well as some healing and other supporters and stuff like that, this could be really, really difficult for your opponent to take down. And maybe if you have like a Rocky Helmet on it, you just get to do extra damage, or even Poison Barb. So I don't know, this card is like interesting because it's like, again, it doesn't do that much damage, but it feels like it kind of does a lot. And it feels like, unless you're against Charizard, which I mean, Charizard's really good, it's really common, but unless you're against Charizard, it feels like your opponent's going to struggle to take this thing down. So another important thing to note is that Sylveon EX, I believe, is weak to steel or metal. So that could be another reason why you would want to play this card. So yeah, Skarmory EX, another really cool one. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. And then finally, I think this is the last EX that we have. Of course, we already know the original 4, Lugia, Ho-Oh, Espeon, and Umbreon. We have Lantern EX here. I was wondering if they would give us Ampharos EX or Lantern EX for the electric type. I think Ampharos is more of like a fan favorite Pokemon, but Lantern's cool, and I think it makes sense for them to do one that like maybe people are not exactly expecting. So Lantern EX has 150 HP, of course, it's a stage 1, and it has a move called Flashing Signal. For 3 energy, it does 80 damage. Flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. If tails, your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. This is like the most underwhelming, I think. This and Shuckle EX are probably the most underwhelming for me. I mean, it's just 80 damage for 3 energy is not great. Obviously, Ho-Oh EX does 80 damage for 3 energy, but it has the massive upside of like ramping your bench. This, I mean, it just doesn't feel like this is going to be valuable. Like, okay, maybe you'll paralyze them, but then what, right? Maybe, oh, I paralyze them. Oh, I get to do 80 more damage to them next turn. I guess that's a possibility. Or I confuse them. I think the downside here is like, there are going to be situations where you want to have them paralyzed, but you're going to flip tails. Or you, I guess, want to have them confused, but then you flip heads, right? So, and again, 3 energy for 80 damage. I guess electric does have some ramp, notably in the form of, I guess you have, actually there's a lot of ramp in electric. There's the, what's it called? The electric cord from one of the sets. I forgot which set. I think it was the set where Tapu Koko EX came out, maybe. You also have the new the new trainer card, which can move electric energy. There's also like Pachirisu. So there are ways to kind of ramp and move around energy in electric decks, but I kind of still feel like it's not super worth it in my opinion. Like the Oricorio deck is kind of the best. The Oricorio, Silvally, and Zeraora deck is kind of like the best electric deck at the moment. And that one just feels like more streamlined. It just feels like it's more easy to move energy around. They do less damage than Lantern, but, well, except for Silvally, but it just feels like it's more consistent, right? So I don't know, unless Chinchou is good, or unless there's other good electric support in this set, as much as I love Lantern, unfortunately, I don't think this is going to get there, but I think that's it. I think that is it for the new EX Pokemon in the new set. A lot of these are extremely exciting. I'm super hyped for Kingdra EX and Crobat EX, and I do think Skarmory EX has a lot of potential as well. So let me know in the comments what you think about all of these reveals. Leave a like, please subscribe for more Pokemon TCG Pocket videos. Let me know which of these you are most excited to open in the new packs, as well as which of these you are most excited to build around. And of course, let me know what you're going to be building with them, because I really want to know that. So let's start having discussions about how to build the best versions of these decks. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a great day, and best of luck when the new set comes out. I'm excited.